Gruezi mitenand. For today's dinner, Schlarraffenland will return to the Alps and show you how to make potato pancake with cordon bleu and yogurt sauce. This is a very Swiss way to turn your plain meat and potatoes into a dinner so fancy that your date might actually think that you're going to propose. So proceed with care. And let's get to the kitchen and start cooking. Your date is going to be here soon. We'll begin with the potatoes. You will need waxy potato, salt, bacon cubes, and some butter. For this, it's crucial to use waxy potatoes, not the starchy types, because starchy potatoes will get too mushy. Remember, not all potatoes are the same, just as not all white people are the same. Now, let's take 500 grams of waxy potatoes and cook them in the pressure cooker for 5 to 7 minutes. Once the potatoes are done, remove them from the pressure cooker and let them cool down completely. If you have leftover potatoes, you can skip this cooking step. While waiting for our potatoes to cool down completely, we'll prepare our meat. For the cordon bleu, you will need 2 pieces of pork, any stretchy melting cheese of your choice. We're using raclette and Gruyere here, and some seasoning. We're using 2 pieces of pork neck. Each is about 250 grams, 15 centimeters in length and 12 centimeters in width. Now the fun step, take your mallet and release all of this repressed frustration with your eggs on the pork and pound it flat. Once the meat is well tenderized and you're stress-free, we can start seasoning with salt and lots of pepper. Again, I stand by my statement that pepper addition is healthy. Next, add half a teaspoon of chili powder, a quarter of a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a quarter of a teaspoon of onion powder onto your meat as well. Then, take 2 cloves of garlic, mince it well, and for some heat, take 2 fresh chili and chop them well. Spread your garlic and chili on half of your pork, like this. After the seasoning is done, we will take our cheese and put it on the same half. For one piece, we will use raclette cheese, and for the other piece, we will use shredded Gruyere. If you don't have any of these delicious Swiss cheese, you can substitute it with any melty, stretchy cheese of your liking, like mozzarella. Just remember, don't skimp out on the cheese. Next, we will fold the pork over like this and use some toothpicks to sew along the edge of the meat to secure all of the cheese inside. Then we'll batter our pork. We will do a simple battering with starch, egg, and lastly cover it with panko or breadcrumbs. Alternatively, you can also do a wet batter of your choice. Let's check on our potatoes. Good. The potatoes have cooled down completely. We can start peeling them and grate them into thin strips using a grater like this. Then it's time for seasoning. We're going to keep it simple. Add some cubed bacon in there with half a teaspoon of salt before gently mixing everything together. Next, in a pan, heat up 1.5 teaspoons of butter. After the butter has melted, we will add our potatoes and fry them on low heat for 10 to 15 minutes. Remember to stir the potatoes around occasionally to avoid burning. Burnt potatoes are not fancy and it will ruin any plan with your dinner dates later on. After frying for 10 to 15 minutes, we will press them into a pancake shape. Next, we will cover the pan and let the potatoes continue frying on low heat for another 6 to 7 minutes on each side. Once our potatoes get a nice and brown crust, you know the pancake is done. And while waiting for our potatoes to cook, we can also make our yogurt sauce. We will use 4 tablespoons of plain yogurt. Mix in there a pinch of salt, some parsley, dill, basil, and a juice of 1/3 of a lemon. You can also substitute the herbs here with any herbs of your choice. Mix them well and put it in the fridge to keep it nice and fresh while we continue our cooking. Finally, let's shallow fry our pork. Heat up quite a bit of oil in a pan, enough to cover 1/3 of the height of our pork, and fry the pork on medium-high heat for about 5 minutes on each side. Once both sides are golden brown, you can see the melted cheese start dripping out. Remove the cordon bleu from the pan and plate it with your perfectly crunchy potato pancake and your creamy yogurt sauce. And there you have it. A beautiful little Switzerland on your plate that would definitely get your date to say yes. Now all that's left is engweta, bon appetito, itadakimasu, moikaignanka, and again.